Thank you. All right. My name is Derek D'Orazio. I am the Preparedness Branch Manager. We call ourselves PGMB at North Carolina Emergency Management. I'm also our compliance officer for the organization. And my office is responsible for managing our non-disaster preparedness grants that we offer through North Carolina Emergency Management. We have a suite of over 10 different federal and state grant programs that we manage. We're doing anywhere upwards of about $100 million in grants a year. Our grantees that we deal with and manage grants for are spread throughout all 100 counties in North Carolina. We deal with county governments, local governments, cities, towns, and various nonprofits across the entire state. One of the most important grant programs that we do administer is called our NSGP, Nonprofit Security Grant Program. And that is a federal grant program that's offered through DHS/FEMA. So it's a federal grant that they provide to us as the agent of the state, and we pass those funds through to the nonprofits to help harden targets to prevent against security and terrorist threats and vulnerabilities. So that's the purpose of the Nonprofit Security Grant Program. We administer that program throughout the years. And for FY24 NSGP, not only did we get an allocation of money for the FY24 NSGP program, we then got supplemental funding as well, which we call FY24 NSGP NSS for the supplemental funding for FY24 NSGP. So we're here to talk today about that FY24 NSGP NSS program. All of you on this call today, or most of you, should have been awarded funds for FY24 NSGP NSS. And we're going to show you, now that you have an award, what's next, right? How do you manage that award through our new Salesforce grants management system? So after I make some introductory comments today, I'm going to turn it over to our various members of the staff. We have Ms. Janine Childs, Mr. Bradley Garrett, Ms. Michelle Strong, and Stacy Smith, who will be assisting with the different parts of the presentation here today. If at any time you have a question, please raise your virtual hand or put it in the chat, and we will certainly answer any questions that you have. We have plenty of time for questions. We'll also take pauses throughout the presentation today for your questions and answers as well. And at the end of the session, we'll have a Q&A section as well. This presentation is being recorded. The video will be available on our website, which I'll show you in a minute. For the Nonprofit Security Grant Program, we'll put the video on our website for those that can't make it today or those that want to watch the video and review it. Okay, so with that, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and just show you our website real quick to start this off. All right, so if you're following at home, I think Janine put the links in the chat. You can just Google NSGP space NCEM if you want, and come up to this website here. This is our Nonprofit Security Grant Program website, our NSGP website for North Carolina Emergency Management. Okay, so again, we get the funds from FEMA, we pass it through to y'all. This is our website. FEMA has their own NSGP website, but this is where you're going to get the most information you need to manage your grant with us, is through this website. Now, the website that you see here, it's been updated for FY25 NSGP. Okay, that's because, again, we get this money pretty much every year for a different grant year program. So FY25 NSGP is currently underway right now. So a lot of the information you see, it's still going to apply to you in general, but what I recommend that you do is you scroll to the bottom of this website. Okay, it's very important. And down here it says Archive FY24 website. Okay, this is actually the website you probably want to go to for FY24 NSGP and FY24 NSGP NSS, which is the grant y'all have. So Jeannie, if you could actually put this link in the chat, this is probably the direct link that's better for them to go to, because this is more applicable to your program. Okay. So anyway, this website describes the 24 NSGP program. All right. With NSGP, there are two sources of funding: urban area and state. Urban area is the Charlotte area, so all the counties that touch Mecklenburg County, which are these counties here. For NSS, there was no urban area awards, so it's all just state awards. So it's going to be, it's actually NSSS, NSGP NSS state. So there's no UA awards for that. And the way we allocated the NSS funding was, if you all applied for FY24 NSGP and did not receive funding, kind of the next ranked projects on that list, they're right below the cut line for 24 NSGP funding, you all were offered the supplemental funding, right? So you applied for 24 NSGP, you didn't get funded for 24, but we had extra money from the supplemental, and then we awarded your projects. So pretty much the same rules as the 24 program, which is why this website applies to you. You just got your money a little bit later than the other 24 folks because it was supplemental funding. All right. And again, it's all state awards. There's no UA awards. And then this talks about some of the money we had available in 24 and the different maximum project amounts you could apply for. So it's all good background information. Okay. But we also had various virtual sessions here that we helped with 24 NSGP, which the links are there for that. Okay. And then we have this one right here, this GIGO best practice for submitting requests for reimbursement. This is probably your best video to watch right now since you've all been awarded funds. And you can kind of watch a video of how we walk through submitting RFRs if you want more information. We're going to walk you through it today, but there's another video for your reference as well. So all the information you need is on this website here, okay? And the way that you will access your grant, okay, is through a system called Salesforce, which the links are here on our website. I think the link also we put in the chat as well. And then you will see a login screen like this, and then you'll be able to log in to access your grants. We're gonna have a demonstration for you here today of this process. Right now, what I want to tell you all is, please see if you can log on to Salesforce and follow along with us. If you forgot your password, you can click the forget password link to get a password reset. If you do not have access to Salesforce and you need access to represent your organization for NSGP, where it says new user, click here, click that form, and then you can register for access to Salesforce. And I have staff standing by that will process those registrations to get you access to Salesforce to represent your organization. Okay, but the grant is managed through Salesforce. Okay, all right. I'm going to keep my comments brief. That's all I have to add at this point. Let me stop sharing my screen here. Before I turn it over, I think that's who our next presenter is. Before I turn it over, I think it's Stacy's our next presenter. I just want to emphasize again some points that you probably already know. The NSGP, NSS grant that you're awarded funds for, all of our NSGP grants, really all the grants that we manage through my office, they're reimbursable grants, right? So that means you must complete the expenditure, pay for the good or service, receive the good or service during the period of performance of the grant. So you would have received a grant agreement from us, what's called an MOA. It lays out your period of performance of your grant. All your expenditures have to be incurred within that time frame. You have to pay for the good or service, and the good or service has to be received within that time frame. If all three of those things happen, you then submit a request for reimbursement to us. We then will pay you. You will have a certain award amount. Once you dwindle that award amount down to zero, or you deobligate your remaining funding, then you're in a process to be able to close out the grant. Okay, so it's kind of like a grant life cycle where you've already been awarded funds. Now you're going to go ahead and submit your request for reimbursement, dwindle your award amount down as close to zero as possible, deobligating your remaining funding, and then you're going to go ahead and close your grant out. And that's the whole kind of step that we'll walk you through here today as we demonstrate that process for you through Salesforce. All that's done through Salesforce. But I just want to make sure you please understand that it is a reimbursable grant, and you will get reimbursed after you complete the expenditures and provide the appropriate paperwork to support those expenditures, all documented through Salesforce. Okay. The other issue we're going to talk about a little bit more today for NSGP, NSS in particular, because your projects do involve physical security enhancements for the most part to your structures, cameras, fencing, bollards, windows, doors, those type of things. They're construction related activities. They do require what they call an EHP, Environmental Historic Preservation Review, or an EHP review. And there's a process you have to get that approved through FEMA, technically before you can start your project, and certainly before you can get paid on your project. So we'll talk about the EHP process a little bit here. You have to submit EHP screening forms for your projects, before you really start the project and get reimbursed for it. So you got your award, get your EHP paperwork in. FEMA will hopefully approve that EHP project for you, and then you can start submitting your reimbursement requests and then close out your grant. That's kind of the life cycle on this. And that EHP, it just checks for a suite of about 20 different federal laws. Things like make sure you're not changing the structure of a historic property on the historic register. Make sure you're not doing something that could compromise the environment. You know, if you're digging dirt and you're digging on Indian burial grounds, or if you're building fencing or towers and you're interfering with migratory bird patterns, right? Or, you know, all the different panoply of federal environmental historic laws. You just make sure your project's not implicating those things. It's kind of like a free federal legal review for your project. That's why FEMA does it. 99% of the time with these projects for NSGP, they're small projects. There's really no issues. It just takes a while to get those EHPs reviewed and cleared by FEMA. So that's kind of your first step in the process. And then you'll go on from there to submit your reimbursement requests. All right. So for that, again, I'm going to keep it short. That's all my comments I have. I'll be jumping in as needed throughout the presentation today, and I'll be available to answer any questions. But at this point, before we start, are there any questions for me? All right, very good. And Janine?
So
Janine, who? Go ahead, sir. Yes, Viren, go ahead, sir.
yeah, so I just wanted to ask, so as far as the process is concerned,
Yep.
you know, the first step is the EHP. So let's take the example that we do want to install gates for security reasons, and you know, these are just very simple gates in our property. So we need to do the EHP process first before
Yes.
we even the project
Yep.
itself.
Yes, sir. I'm going to share my screen, but I'll show you exactly what we're talking about
Okay.
here. Yep. So if you go to our website, okay, and so I'm going to share my screen again here real quick. If you go to our main grants website, so just Google NCM space grants. This is kind of our main grants website for NCM. There's a blue box at the top of the thing here. There's the section for EHP right here. See where it says EHP screening form? That's the form you got to submit right there. That's a form. You'll give the specifics of your project, and then you submit it to us, and then we go ahead and submit it to FEMA for review. They come back with letters saying, hey, your project's cleared, then you're good to go. But all the information for the HP is right here, including the form you have to use. Right? And including the EP one-page quick reference guide here. All right, sir, any follow-up questions, or are you good? All right, hearing none. Thank you for that. All right, Janine, who's next on the agenda?
Thank you, Derek. Stacy Smith will begin the webinar presentation portion. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Stacy, take it away, please.
Hello, my name is Stacy Smith, and I'm one of the grant managers with PGMB. And please let me know if there's anything weird going on with the audio. We're testing some
Stacy, there's an
equipment.
echo. We have an echo.
Okay. Let me I thought so let me try to fix that real quick.
Can't hear you, Stacy. You are muted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now I can't hear you. So let's see. I'm going to take off the headset. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to walk you through today the Salesforce process for how we navigate the sort of account objects and project objects for your various projects. So starting with your account profile, actually up on this top of the page, this whole blue banner, these are the various objects that we work with throughout the platform. So this is the home page. This is your account profile. And we'll go through some of these in more detail on this, just a quick overview. Your account profile, request for information, letters of interest, applications, awards, projects, project management, reimbursements, and then on this more tab, we've got payment, annual report, and closeout documents. And again, we'll be going through some of these objects in a little bit more detail throughout the rest of the webinar, but this is where on your landing page where you can find those tabs if you want to navigate to those areas specifically. So on the account profile, we're going to be using our the alpha test application process for the purposes of this webinar. And for your organization, this is what you would, this is what it will look like in your view of Salesforce. So it will show you on the detail page your account name, so that's your organization, and any other information, any details for the information that you have here. And you'll notice under each of these tabs that there's a pencil that's located next to them. And when you click on that pencil, you can make any necessary edits. If you look and you review your account page, and we encourage you to do that from time to time, to just check and make sure that the information that is presented there is correct and up to date. If you want to make any changes, that's what you do. You click the pencil, you can make edits, and then save. And that will be saved and updated, and we'll be able to see it in our view of Salesforce as well. So these are your general account details, your addresses. If you have a different billing and shipping address, please be sure to indicate that here so we have that straight. If you want to upload your website, phone numbers, then here, grantee details, very important information, your unique entity ID or UEID number, that needs to be here. You want to double check and make sure that that's correct. Your FEIN text number, that's also here. Also very important, your SAM registration. Make sure that you're SAM registered and that your expiration date is updated. When it comes time to be able to submit for reimbursements, if your SAM registration is not up to date, you will not be able to be reimbursed. So it's very important that you get on that and make sure that it's up to date and that you keep that information current in the system. And it's free to register and free to keep it from year to year. So set a reminder if you need to, but it's an important number to make sure that it's current and active in the system. So that is the majority on this page. If we go back up to the top, this is detail page. Now we're going to click over to related. And here you will see information like contacts. So you can click on this side here, and if you want to make any edits to your contacts here, this is how you would do so. Additional contacts if you'd like to have them. Also, very important, this is a file upload. You're going to hear us talk a lot today and in future about the 5 necessary required documents for your grant, the life cycle of your grant, and any additional documentation that we may request throughout the time. This is going to be where that will be uploaded, your upload center, and I'll be demonstrating shortly exactly how to do that. Then here, this would be where different applications that you apply for, where they will live, and you can click through and look at, review different aspects of your different applications. And so yes, that's the majority of what lives here on the related page. So next, we're going to go through exactly how to update the necessary documents that we request. So on the grants page.
Hey, Stacy, I'm sorry, just take a pause. Anybody have any questions at this point before we move on to that?
Oh, sure. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just take a quick pause. Any questions or concerns with Stacy just demonstrated for you? Basically keeping all your information updated in your account profile in Salesforce using those editable pencils. Any questions?
Did you say for the SAM registration, are there pointers for us? I think I have the UID as well as the other info. But I
Yeah,
think this time I'm talking about the SAM.
yes, there is. Stacy, can you show that screen again there and show them the I button there that gives the information about what we want in those fields?
Sure, just 1 second. I'm just going to. Excuse me. My headset was still plugged in, so I couldn't hear the question. Could you repeat that, please?
Yeah, so just if you should go back to the Z alpha test there and show the I buttons next to the SAM and UEID. We can get more information about what we want in those fields. So go back to details, and scroll down to the see the little I button next to UEID there. Click on that. The little I, right there. Yep. So anywhere you see those I buttons, that gives you more information about what we want in the field for that field. So this is, you have to go to this website here and provide your UEID, which you get through sam.gov. It's 12-character alphanumeric value. There's no cost to get that. You register through the federal government to get it. That's kind of like your social security number for your organization, safe with your organization for life. You'll put that number here. And then if you show the SAM registration I button, Stacy, right there. So this explains.
Can I point something out very quickly? There have been a number of subrecipients who have been getting emails requesting that they pay to update their SAM.gov registration. That is not a good email. That's a MILF. They're trying to reach out and get you to pay. I'm sorry,
Okay,
I just want to point that out. There's emails going around that are trying to scam people, telling them that they have to pay for SAM.gov renewal or registration.
Hey, Brad, I think you're breaking up on us there, sir. Yep.
Okay, I think we're good. Thank you.
Hey, Brad, I think you
Yes.
broke up. Yep. Go ahead, sir. You were talking about the scam emails for SAM.
The scam emails going out about SAM.gov, requesting that you pay $400 or $500 to renew your SAM.gov registration. Those are scam emails. Pay no attention to them. Just delete them. And you can go, like Derek said, this is free registration renewal.
Absolutely.
So just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Good point. And this is your SAM registration. You have to renew it every year. Again, it's free. So UEID is a one-time thing, States Organization for Life. SAM registration, go to the same website, make sure you're registered every year. It's kind of like an annual check against your UEID to make sure you're still good. So you have to have both a UEID and a current SAM registration, and you put your expiration date in the next field there. And if you have a UEID, you have a current SAM registration, it's not yet expired, you can get reimbursed. If you're missing those things, you will not get reimbursed. Okay. And then Stacy, if you can show the FAIN I button there. This is your federal employee identification number. This is your federal tax number. Okay. So again, that should be one number that stays with your organization pretty much for life. But you must provide your federal employee tax number there. The stuff on the left there, jurisdiction type, plan title, plan type. Don't worry about that. That's for hazard mitigation grants, which y'all are not. An NCFS supplier number, that's our own internal accounting system, North Carolina financial system. We will provide that information for you. You wouldn't know that, so we'll add that to your account for you. So the stuff on the left there under grantee details, don't worry about that. But to the right there, all those fields you have to fill out with your UID, tax ID, SAM registration, and SAM expiration date. So good question, Beavan. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Stacy.
Sure. Okay, so on our grants page, this is going to be the landing spot for all of the information regarding our necessary 5 required documents. Starting with the State of North Carolina Substitute W-9 form, there are links to the required forms where relevant on our website, so you can download them and fill them out and then upload them to your file portal within the grants management page. But a further description of each of those can be found here on the page. starting with the W-9 form. So yeah, you just fill that out, download it to your computer, fill it out, and then upload it to us. Next, same with the supplier electronic payment form. And these, some of these links will lead you to an external, sort of sister agency. So for example, this will lead you to the state controller's office, and you would download the form here and upload it to us after that. Then the certification of no overdue tax debts, same process. You you download it, you fill it out, you have it signed and notarized, and then upload the notarized version of the form into your Salesforce account. Then your organization's conflict of interest policy. Every grantee has to have one and share that with us. So whatever you have established with your organization, make sure you upload a copy of that to your Salesforce account. Next would be your procurement policy. Same, make sure that you have it up to date and that it's current within your Salesforce account. And so to show you some of where that would happen, back in your account page, if you go to the related tab, where you would upload those files would be here. And so you just click on the upload button. I'm going to go to my documents, and I'm going to start with my overdue tax debt. And so I'm going to select that form, open it. Will be an upload manager, let you know that it's done, and now it appears in the files. And then you'll be able to review it, and you can see that's where it will live in your account profile. And you can do that for, any and all requested documents. So for instance, I want to go ahead and do my substitute W-9 form. Same process. Okay. It's done. And boom. Pretty direct, as long as you have the documents uploaded to your computer. Okay. Any questions about that?
Hey, Stacy, real quick, just to be clear on that, you'll upload the documents to Salesforce, so it should say 5 by the time it's all said and done. You're at least 5, right? Because you have 5 documents. But the substitute W-9 form, so it's a tax form. It's the state of North Carolina tax form, substitutes for the federal form. We don't want the federal W-9. We want the state substitute W-9, just like Stacy showed on the website. So sometimes people upload their federal form. This is the state substitute form. But also the instructions for that is you're supposed to email that form. The email address is on our website. Email the form to us and then upload it in Salesforce. There's 2-step process for that form. For the electronic vendor payment form, again, the instructions are on the website, but you're supposed to complete that form and you're supposed to email that to Office of State Controller directly and upload a copy to Salesforce. Okay, those 2 at the top of the screen there, Stacy, the 2 at the top, they're the most important of the 5 documents. They will get you paid correctly. Okay, so right there is the instructions. And then if you need to update those forms, you would send your updated electronic vendor payment form to OSC and upload your most recent copy to Salesforce. So those 2 things have specific submission instructions besides just uploading the Salesforce. They're dictated on the website. All of our grant payments are electronic, which is why this paperwork has to be filled out. We don't do paper checks anymore. So this will get you paid. So please make sure you upload this information correctly. Part of the electronic vendor payment form is also either a canceled check or a letter from your bank. So that's also part of that upload you will see as you go through that process with that. And again, if you need to update you only have to upload them one time or submit them one time. If things change, you need to upload them again. You can delete the old file in Salesforce, upload the new file, but make sure you resubmit them to OSC for the electronic vendor payment form and email the form to us again for the W-9 at that email address. Okay, just to be clear on that. All right, any other questions? All right, please proceed, Stacy. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so imagine we've only done 2. I figured you get the gist. You don't need to watch me upload 5 files, but this would say 5 by the time that all of the required files were there. And so now we'll go through and sort of navigate what your project view will look like once you're ready to get started. So we're going to use a sample project. And so this is the project view in your account. And so for this one, we've got FY24 NSGP NSS target hardening security doors. We see who the person of contact is. We've got our MOA number, and we've got a link to the grant program that this project is assigned to. Then here we've got our SAM expiration date. Again, this information pops up a lot throughout your account profile, so please make sure that it's current. And we have a countdown feature here so you can see how many days until you'll be needing to renew. Then it will show you the grant manager information. So for this example, I'm your grant manager. So you would know that, you'd know the year of the grant, the program that it's in, and then the performance period start date and end date. Very important to know so that any reimbursements that you're going to be submitting for reimbursement are going to be between these dates. And we'll be getting into more details about the reimbursement process shortly. Then additional related information, the award number, the budget, the application, and closeout information. We'll be going through more details with this, but this is where these are shortcuts to those aspects of your application. Let's see, budget information, that can be all found here. And so those are the high points for the details page. And then on related, you're going to see different history of different aspects of your grant management. So it'll be dated and you can see different actions that have been happening with the project in this area. Here's another portal or another view for your awards. And you can navigate towards more details about the awards from there. Again, another way to navigate towards the budget lines, a view of your reimbursement requests, and a sample of an RFR that will be demonstrated in the next segment. Approved reimbursement requests or status of different reimbursement requests. You'll be able to see and manage that through this section. Annual reports, when they are generated, they will live here. Payment information will also be generated to be here. And then closeout information when it's time to wrap up the grant and it's time to submit all of the final documentation, the closeout process and its associated documentation will be here in this section for your reference. And then this is where some different files that are uploaded to this part of the project can be viewed. Okay. Any questions about this page?
Hey, Stacy, real quick, go back to the details page there. And I'm asking you all to please follow along on your own computers or your phones. You should be logged into your own Salesforce here. But if you don't see your project, when you click on the project's object, scroll up to the top there, Stacy. Click on the project's object for me, please. At the blue box, yeah, right there. If you don't see your project, okay, it's because it says recently viewed and not all projects at the top there, okay? So say if you can change that view to all, just show them how to do that. And then pin that view, little pin. You will see all your projects then, okay? If it's on recently viewed, you might not see your project if you never viewed it before. So some of the people ask that kind of simple question. All right, so if you're not seeing your project, change the view to all projects. If you can navigate back to the project, Stacy. And then just a couple other things I want to point out on the project page here. If you scroll down the details there, Stacy mentioned the period of performance. That's very important. But if you scroll down to the budget, scroll down a little more to get to the money figures there, scroll right there, budget information. This is, people want to know how much do I have left in my grant, right? Quick and easy. How much do I have left to get reimbursed? In this case, again, this is for a sample, organization called Z Alpha Test, a fictitious nonprofit organization. So you're going to see they've already submitted some reimbursement requests. For y'all, you haven't submitted any yet, so it's going to look a little different. But in this case, they were awarded $150,000 for this particular project. They've already submitted a reimbursement request for $50,000. Okay, so now they have $100,000 left. That's what this is showing, right? So as you submit reimbursement requests, that funding remaining will dwindle down. And then when it dwindles down to zero or close to zero, then you could go ahead and close the grant out. Where it says deobligated and net award amount, if you submit a request to deobligate funds, it will show there and will reduce your award amount accordingly. So let's just say in this particular case, you spent $140,000, you had $10,000 left, you couldn't spend it. You would deobligate that $10,000, and you'd be at a zero balance at that point. But this is a quick and easy snapshot of how much you're awarded. If you deobligate any money, how much you deobligated, what your net award is, and then how much you've been reimbursed and how much is left. And your goal is to get that funding remaining down to zero, as close to zero as possible, and then close your grant out. And in this particular case, they've submitted one reimbursement request. They got $100,000 left to expend. All right, and then just go to the related page again for me, Stacy, real quick. And then on the related page here, if you just scroll down a little bit, Stacy, for those files, these, scroll down to where it says files. These files here, these are not the files associated with your account, the ones we just talked about. You will see those on your account object. These files are the files that are uploaded with respect to your project. Okay, so as you submit your documentation for reimbursement requests, you'll see it here with these files. Okay, but you won't see your 5 compliance documents you uploaded with your account profile. That's a different view. So these are files associated with the project. And in this case, like I said, yours will probably be blank right now if you're looking at it at home. But in this case, this fictitious organization already submitted some documents. That's why you're seeing them here. They've already submitted a reimbursement request. They've already submitted a closeout request, or they have a pending closeout request. Right? You won't see that yet till you actually submit those things on your projects. Just this is a sample project. All right. Thanks, Stacy. Any questions for anything we just said? All right. Please continue, Stacy. Thank you.
Okay. So, lastly, for my section, I'm going to discuss the EHP process. So, the Environmental and Historic Preservation Form. Now that you have received an award, this documentation is required for you to submit with us. And there's more details on it here in this blue box on our grant screening. But essentially, for each of our grant programs, this is a required documentation that is required for any project that's funded by FEMA that has potential to impact environmental or historic properties. And so the details about that, again, goes into more detail here. And that counts for a lot of projects. I know are going to be around security enhancements like fences and cameras. That's all going to be potentially important in terms of environmental assessment. And so it's very important that this gets approved by FEMA so that your projects will have the green light and that you'll be properly reimbursed for all your future activities under the grant. So this is where you would have information for that. There is a link, again, to that form that we've provided on the site. It takes you to a FEMA page and allows you to download the document here. And so once you've filled that out and saved it, and I'm not sure, Derek, let me know if there's any special, if they need to email it separately or if uploading it is okay, but
Yeah, so, yeah, good points. So, and you might attach, sometimes there's attachments required. Occasionally people attach additional information to the form, but the form says submit it to the GPDEHP info at FEMA-DHS.gov. That's not actually correct. You would go ahead and upload it to Salesforce. And then you would either chatter your grant manager or email your grant manager and let them know you've provided that, so that we can then go ahead and forward it to FEMA. Like it can't go from you as a grantee directly to FEMA. It's got to go through us. Hey, I hate that, right? We're kind of the middleman, but that's the way they want it. So you would go ahead and upload it to Salesforce, let us know you've done that, and then we would provide it to FEMA. The form and any other attachments you want to make to the form. Yeah,
Okay.
Just showing the rest of the form. Just scroll on the form, just showing the rest of the form there. Questions that are asked there. See, it's a form fillable document. Yeah, all that stuff. It's not a simple form. It takes some time and some thought, right, to go through everything. Again, see, sometimes it requires attachments, right? Like provide technical drawings or site plans of the project, right? So if that's the case, you would attach that documentation as well to your final upload.
Okay. So good to continue.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay. So in order to upload your EHP, you would we do that to the project, to the files, Derek? Do that here rather than to where the additional 5 required documents?
Yeah, I thought we said projects. Brad, correct me if I'm wrong. Are we doing the projects or we want to do the account? I think we were saying the project for this.
For the EHP, it's under the project. For the 5 required documents, it's under the account.
Perfect. Yep.
Okay.
So you're right on, Stacey. Yep, right here.
Just wanted to double check.
No problem, Stacey. You're good.
Okay. Then you would follow the same process that we had before. Here I've got my sample EHP. Same process as we followed for the other 5 documents. And there it is.
And again, Stacey, if any attachments were required, you could upload those here as well, right? To the EHP drawings, photos, whatever else was required, you'd upload that as well here.
Yes. So this will be your receptacle for all of that type of related supporting documentation. Okay. If there are no questions for me at this point, then I will go ahead and pass it on to my colleague, Michelle Strong, who's going to walk you through some of the reimbursement processes. Michelle?
Stacey, yep, and real quick, just before we do that, so when you do that EHP, like I said, you would either have to chatter your grant manager. We're going to show you how to do chatter here as we get later into the presentation, or at least email your grant manager, let them know you've uploaded that, because we have to take it and send it to FEMA, right? If you just upload without either chattering us a message or sending us an email, we would not necessarily know you uploaded it. That's what we're looking at your, in your file. So please make sure you either chatter it to us or send us an email when you upload that EHP.
And there's a mechanism for that on this page that we will be demonstrating in the next segment.
Absolutely. Yep. Thanks. If no more questions, take it away, Michelle.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I am going to demonstrate how to submit your reimbursement request. So let me share my screen. Is my screen sharing? You can see it? Okay.
Yeah, we can see it. Yep. You're in lightning view, Michelle. You got to be in the community view.
Yeah, I'm going to, that's what I'm going to do. All right. So I'm going to show, let me just get to the correct screen. Hold on one second. I apologize. Am I clicking on the right URL, Janine, to get to Or is it supposed to be another RL to get to the sample screen? Let me see if this is the correct one.
So Michelle, you've got to log
Michelle,
on.
go to Z Alpha test first. Put that in your search queue.
Oh, right. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Uh-oh, what is it telling me? Okay.
Okay, so now hit the related and then click on sub-applicant Jeff Cox under the contact.
Okay.
Wait,
Oops.
hold on. That's
Uh-oh.
not the right.
Uh-oh.
Hold on. When you type in Z Alpha test, put it all together. No spaces.
Okay, I think it was. Hold on.
I think she can just check. She can click on me. Some applicant directorize. I think it'll come up if you click on me.
Sub-applicant. Okay.
Yeah, click on that and then go ahead and do log into
Okay.
experience
Yes.
as
Yes.
user.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's the right one.
Right. Okay.
So just for the audience, the grantees, this is the screen you see. Michelle was showing you our grant manager view, kind of behind the under the hood look. This is what you all see in your experience of Salesforce. Is this view right here? Take it away, Michelle.
Okay. So once you are in your screen, we're going to click on.
I'm sorry. Hold on, Michelle. Looks like you're in UAT. I'm sorry. You gotta go back again. This is UAT, not production. So
Am I?
yeah, you gotta go back to Lightning.
Okay. Hold on. Let me log out and log back on. Hold on 1 second. All right. Okay, hold on 1 second. Okay. Just give me 1 second. Let me get back to where I was. Okay. Okay. I think I see. Okay. Now I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Now I'm going to go. Okay. So we're here.
And yeah, just click on projects, Michelle.
Okay. Okay, yes. All right. So this will be what the applicant is viewing. So, okay. So I'm going to go to, wait a minute. Sorry, hold on 1 second. Okay. So you're going to click on create reimbursement request line. Okay, and then it's going to take you to the budget summary. So this is where you will explain how much you will be requesting as far as reimbursement is concerned. Once you are here, hold on 1 quick second. And I believe we're going to be requesting $50,000 for equipment. Okay, so you're going to pick your category. So it depends on which category you're going to be spending from. So planning, organization, equipment, training, exercise. So in this example, I'm going to be spending from the equipment category. So once you pick your category, then you're going to click on next. This is the description of what you are requesting reimbursement for. So whatever the item is that you have paid for. So in this example, I'm going to say payment for security doors, because that is what the expenditure is, and that is what the applicant is, or the subrecipient is requesting reimbursement for. And then the cost. So the amount of money that you have already spent on this item, which would be $50,000 in this example. Okay, so then once you put the amount in, you're going to hit save and next. Okay, and then here, once you reach this part, this is where you're going to upload the necessary documents to request your reimbursement. So you're going to upload the invoice and receipt. So the invoice is going to show how much you paid, who the vendor was, the date, and all of the information needed as far as what your expenditure is. Then you're going to upload your proof of payment. Your proof of payment is going to be a canceled check, the back and front, or if you did not use a check and you paid with credit card, then it's going to be the credit card statement, where you can redact any information that is not relevant to this particular reimbursement request, or a bank statement. And similar to a credit card statement, with the bank statement, you're going to redact any information that is not relevant to your reimbursement request. Then you're going to also upload your summary of expenses. So the summary of expenses is your outline of everything that has been spent in this particular reimbursement request. So if it's only one expenditure, the security doors, then you just would list the item, which is the security doors, the amount that you spent, the date, and the invoice number and the vendor. If it's multiple items, then obviously you want to itemize and list each and every item that is included in this particular reimbursement request. If there's any other relevant documents that pertain to this reimbursement request, then you can upload under other. Okay. Oh, and then, well, so it won't let me move on to next because I haven't uploaded any documents. So if you do not upload any documents, just know that it won't let you move on to the next thing. So once you've uploaded your documents, then your grant manager will receive your reimbursement request, RRL, and then you will chatter, which the chatter is going to be demonstrated, I believe, after my presentation. You're going to chatter the grants manager to let them know that you have uploaded all of your documents. So you make sure that you include the @ symbol and then your grant manager's name. And then you're going to submit your message saying, I have uploaded documentation pertaining to this particular reimbursement request. Okay, and that is the reimbursement request. Are there any questions pertaining to that?
Michelle, a couple comments. Michelle mentioned, if you can show the screen again, Michelle, real quick. Michelle mentioned the summary of expenditures form is one of the required documents you have to upload. It's like we have a sample summary of expenditures documents, a spreadsheet on our website. So if you go to our NCM grants website, in that blue box, you'll see the form that we recommend. You're not required to use that form, but you can use that form. It's just basically a listing, itemized listing of exactly what you're claiming for expense included in the reimbursement request, how much is reimbursable. It needs to be pointed out that taxes are not reimbursable, right? So you might have an invoice for, $50,000, that includes $5,000 of tax. On your summary of expenditures, you indicate, hey, the invoice is $50,000, I'm only claiming $45,000, so I'm not claiming the tax, right? And, then you'd have the invoice, accompanying that, you'd highlight, where the expenditure was and show you're not paying the taxes for it, or you're not getting reimbursed for the taxes. And you would just get reimbursed for the non-taxable portion. But that summary of expenditures form is on our website to use to upload. And then once you submit your reimbursement request, if you look under the reimbursements object, so click on that object up there, Michelle, for reimbursements. You will see all the reimbursement requests that you've submitted. In this case, just take a look at what's, I think just look at 461 there. Click on 461. This is an example of reimbursement request that was submitted. And if you click on this was a different one, $50,000 for doors. Click on related there. Under that, you will see the documents. In this case, there was no documents. The documents you upload would be there. Your reimbursement request history would be there, so you'd be able to see when this was approved, for payment. Then there would be a payment record created. See, it says payment 0 down there now, but once it was actually paid, you would see a payment record created, and you could verify then that you were paid the money. You don't have to call us and ask. When you see the payment record appear in Salesforce, it's been paid electronically, paid to your account. And you can follow the history of it all here as it goes through the process. The way these things work is you submit them to your grant manager, whether it's Stacy, Michelle, or Brad for an NSGP. They will then go ahead and get them in their work queue in Salesforce. They'll review them, make sure all the documentation lines up with your summary of expenditures, make sure it lines up with your amounts you have available. If it's all good, they will approve it. Then it gets sent to our NCDPS controller's office for payment. They will then go ahead and create the payment record to show you've been paid, and it'll be electronically deposited in your account. And then what happens is, as you go back to your project screen, Michelle, click on the projects there, go back to the project screen, your balance will update in your budget there. So click on 935 there, Michelle. Yep. As I showed you before, as you submit those reimbursement requests, if you scroll down to budget information, your budget will update as those reimbursement requests are processed. Right there, how much you have available. And when Michelle was walking you through the example, they're called PALETI categories, the categories of expenditures. When you submit your budget with your application, the budget gets approved, and it has the categories of expenditures for your reimbursement, which will soon to be a reimbursement request, so your budget lines. One of which, in this case, the equipment is for the security doors. I think there was a second budget line as well in here. I'm not sure what it was for, but there was another category that was requesting funding. You generally have to request up to the amount in your category. Okay, so in this case, you only had $50,000 available for those doors. You know, $100,000 was left in the grant. You had a $50,000 only for the doors. If you need to modify your budget lines or the scope of your project, that's a project management request you'd have to submit a scope or budget modification. Janine, are we going to show any of that here during our demonstration today? For the project management request?
Sir, we're going to show a deobligation and a closeout.
Okay, great. So we can show also the other types of project management requests as we do that. But basically, you're just clicking on your project management object, and there's different types of project management requests. One would be a scope or budget modification. You'll click on that to request minor scope or budget modifications if you need to do that. Hopefully, you can avoid that. But if you need to do it, you can request minor modifications as well. But you're never going to get any more money. Just if you want to reshuffle around the money a little bit among your categories, you can submit a modification request for that. But that's the process, kind of in a nutshell, from reimbursement then through payment, and that's reflected on your budget here, showing what's been reimbursed. All right. Thank you, Michelle. Any questions on reimbursement requests? All right. Very good. Moving on then. What's next on the agenda, Janine? We have, who's next, Janine?
Brad is going to demonstrate the deobligation and closeout.
All right, awesome. Take it away, Brad.
Good afternoon. I'm Brad Garrett, one of the grant managers on the NSGP team. We'll be working along with you throughout the grant process. Right now, what we're going to do is we're going to demonstrate preparing to close out your grant in Salesforce. But we're going to backtrack a little bit because, as Derek just pointed out, there's some other things you could do beside close out. You could request a scope modification, a minor modification, as Derek put it. With any grant, with any NSGP grant, you are allowed to move 10% of the awarded amount. So say you were awarded, in this case, $150,000. You've expended 50, so you got 100 remaining. But you want to move, say, some of that money to the fencing. You want to increase what you did with the 50,000 on the fencing. You might need another 15,000 toward that. So you could send us a request. You could do it here in Salesforce, where you could request that move. 10% of the awarded amount. Anything more than that, we have to go through FEMA, and really don't want to do that right now. So just stay within that 10% allowance and everything will be pretty good. We'll be good with that. But now, in terms of doing the closeout, so say for instance, if you've already spent this, going backtracking again, you've spent your 50,000, you got 100,000 left. You really don't see where you can spend this 100,000, or it might be getting close to the end of the period of performance. So you would go here to request project update. And from the drop down, you would choose the closeout request. So, but when you choose this request, what's going to happen is you're going to get a message, an error message, telling you that your remaining balance of 50,000 to contact the grant manager. In order to close out the grant has either got to be completely expended or you have to have de-obligated the remaining funds. So at this point, you would say, you would click X out, you would go back to the drop down, and you would de-obligate. You want to do a de-obligation request. So at this point, you're going to de-obligate the $50,000. Reason for de-obligating could be you're out of time, you don't have anything to spend the 50,000 on, whatever. We ask that you do this and give us enough time because we may be able to redirect this $50,000 funding to another sub-applicant or sub-recipient that could possibly use its funds before the period of performance is over. So now you go next, Janine. On the 50,000, the category, yes, the category is coming out of. Thank you for the request. So now at this point, if you'd like, you could go back in, and you could request to the drop down to close out the grant. And as you see right now, when you do it, apparently we didn't de-obligate 50,000.
We know, Brad, we have to approve the obligation request, right? Grant manager has to approve it. That's all.
Oh, okay. So this has to be approved.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, Derek.
Yeah.
Getting ahead of myself. Yeah. So once it's approved, you'll receive through Salesforce. You'll receive the thing about it being approved, and now it's approved. The grant could be closed out. We can move to the next stage during the closeout process. You'll receive paperwork. Once it's approved and everything goes through, you'll be receiving some paperwork regarding the closeout. Documents you'll have to sign off on. Comes back, Derek will sign off on a document. You'll receive it. It'll all be in the paperwork, and the grant is officially closed out. Any questions on the closeout process? I know it's a little jumbled. We weren't able to show you everything, but this is something much further down the line that we'll be getting to regarding this grant.
Thanks, Brad. Yep, this is the goal of every grant, to reach that closeout process as soon as possible, right? Get those monies spent, get the grant closed out. All right, thank you, Brad. All right, seeing no questions on that. What's next, Janine? Is chatter next?
Yes, sir. Chatter is next.
All right, I think
Hold on
that's you and
1 second.
Abhishek. Abhishek, chatter. Yep, take it away.
Yes.
Oh, am I sharing my screen, or is it Janine? Sorry.
You can share.
Or do you want to share your screen for the message that you sent out first?
Sure, I can do that.
Yeah, I guess
See
just
if I
walk
grab the
through it.
message. Okay, thank you so much for your patience. Here we're going to show you how Chatter works. Chatter works, most of the information that you're going to receive from your grant manager will be via Chatter. We ask that all communications regarding your grant project are in Salesforce Chatter. That allows us to ensure that all of our grant managers are on the same page and know what's going on, as well as you and your team to also know what's going on. So here, this section over here, when you scroll down so you can see You have different messages. We've kind of tested things in practice, but this is what chatter looks like. So now, as the grant manager, I'm going to send a message to Machette. This is kind of a preloaded. I'm going to say thank you for coming in here. Congratulations, and we need a little bit more work from you. You take a minute to look at your account and verify that everything is up to date. We remind you of the period of performance and again about the communication. We also give you a helpful tip about sending chatter. All you have to do is do the @ symbol and then start typing the person's name. So in this case, I'm going to add just in case. Michelle, I'm not spelling your name right.
You just put the Jeff Cox. Just do sub applicant Jeff, and then
Oh, you're going to get it. Okay.
I'll get it.
Sub. Great. What's going on here?
Type in just Jeff. See if you just type in Jeff.
This one. Right, so you put all your information up here. If you wanted to, if I wanted to send it to other people in your organization, for example, like your finance person, they're always good to have in tow for messages and updates. If there's another person who works on your grant, I put all their information here. At the bottom, I did CCs, so it would go to our grants team, and that's how you do it. Do the @ then I'm going to do another @ send it to Michelle. And to Stacy. So that's everyone on your grants team. And now I'm going to hit the comment button. If I wanted to attach documents, I would click on here to this paperclip. And I can select files to attach. Okay, so now I've sent that over. Cool.
Okay, so we'll go to the project. And we can, yep, we can see that this is the recent one. Spam post here. Yep, so this is the recent one. And I should get an email notification regarding that. And submitting. So yeah, so we get this email notification that a chatter was posted, and based on the email that you get, you can navigate to as a guarantee you can navigate back to the portal, and what you can do is reply to the chatter that the GM sent. Grantee can reply directly in chatter, so upload documents and all that. Tag any relevant team members if necessary. So we just paste everything. Maybe. Okay.
She's listed as employee, Abhishek. There you go.
Yeah, I was just saying. Okay, yeah, right there. Just wanted to make sure it applies to them. And I would just go ahead and comment or reply to what the GM sent. Then I think, Janine, you should get a notification on that. And then do I, or if you want to like ask a follow-up questions with this, you can just do another comment here. Then you can ask about any questions that you may have. Also mentioning the grant managers. And if you have any questions, you can just paste. You can just reply to all of this, and then you can just post your questions here, and then all of this will be directed to the GM. So she will receive an email notification, and yeah, that's pretty much it from the grantee side on how to use chat.
Yeah, thanks, Abhishek. So just a couple things real quick here on the chatter. So as you're just let's do another chatter real quick, Abhishek. Just scroll down there, start a new chatter there for write a comment. As you're typing the @ symbol, that's like the address book in Salesforce, right? You're trying to find your grant managers to comment to. In this case, for NSGP, it's always going to be Michelle Strong, Brad Garrett, and Stacy Smith, right? So let's just say you want to tell them, hey, here's my EHP, okay, with the project, okay? So click in the write a comment object, click on that box and type Brad Garrett, at Michelle Strong, at Stacy Smith. Select them when you see them pop up. Just make sure that they will get this message. And like Abhishek said, an email will be sent to them as well saying, hey, you have a chatter message in Salesforce. So all three of them will get this message. Okay. And then you want to type the body of your message. So again, you have all these formatting features available, just like an email. You can bold it, italicize it, underline it, right? You get the paper clips, the attachments. Now I just type, say attached is my EHP screening form for my project. So you're telling the grant managers here, you're attaching your EHP screening form for my project. A screening form, yeah, screening form for my project. Okay, and then you're going to click the paper clip right there. And you're going to go from your computer, upload a file from your computer, or just he already has it uploaded here, but either one, upload a file, or you can see it in your things there. And then you would pick the EHP form sample there. Yeah, in this case, that's your EHP screening form. There were no attachments required, just the EHP screening form in this case. And you're going to hit the comment to post it. And that's the way you would, there you go. That's the way you would submit your EHP screening form for your project to your 3 grant managers in this particular case. All right. Now, when you do that, okay, scroll back up to the top, Abhishek. Click on related for me.
Oh, sorry, related.
Click related, yeah. And then scroll down. It should put the file in there. Scroll down for me. Right there. So anything you chatter on this project will go into the files object here with your project, all the other documents. So everything you've uploaded for your reimbursement request, everything you've chattered, will all be right here. The grant manager will get an email saying, hey, this person uploaded their EHP form to their project. They'll go in, they'll pull the EHP form from here and send it to FEMA. And then once your EHP is approved, you'll get another chatter back from your grant manager. And it'll say, hey, here's the approval letter from FEMA approving your EHP. And you'll get it just the same way. It'll come to you. You will get an email, saying, hey, you have a chatter. You'll access the chatter that way from your project, and you'll have your form available saying it's been approved with a letter from FEMA. It's very important you maintain an accurate email address in Salesforce. So within your contact information in your account, make sure email addresses is all accurate and updated, so that you get those automatic system emails generated from Salesforce as chatter messages are sent. But we try to keep all the communications in chatter here in Salesforce on the right side of the screen, so that all grant-related communications are right there in your grant file, right, with the project in this case. It's no longer like, well, I emailed it. No, you didn't. I didn't get the email, right? Nope. Everything you say related to your project is going to be on that right side of the screen, with the proper, project number in Salesforce, all the documents, all the information. So that's why we do the chatter. All right. Abhishek, do me one.
Chatter response is there, Derek.
Yep. What's
The
that?
chatter response is
Oh,
there.
great. Okay. You scroll down here, see response. Yep. Scroll down, Abhishek. Let's take a look at the response.
No.
And, all right.
It should be in the top.
Oh, top.
I just
Sorry.
have to refresh. I have to refresh.
Yeah, just refresh it.
Yeah, and then you get the
There
reply
you
from the GM.
There you go. Yep. It's all right there. Somebody's got to refresh the screen. Thank you, Gene, for doing that. And click on more comments there too. I'll check. Some people get confused with that. If you click on more comments, a little blue box up there. No, it says more comments. Yeah, that'll give you the whole string of everything right there too. Sometimes it's confusing for folks to follow that. But this is kind of the internal messaging system built into Salesforce that we use to keep all the grant records together. All right. Do me a favor, Abhishek. Brad was talking about the closeout process earlier. I think we have went ahead and approved that the obligation request. So I think we can go ahead and show them the closeout process now. So if you go to project management up top. So this is when you want to remember you've de-obligated your money. Okay, no, I'm sorry. We'll submit a new request. Sorry, go back because we didn't save that request. Yeah, sorry, we got to start a new one. Just go back to the project.
I'll go back to project and stuff.
Let's go back to the project. Yep. Project 935. Okay, and I do a request project update. And then go ahead and do your closeout request. Yep. All right. So now we've processed the obligation request. So your balance is down to zero now. Before, when Brad was trying to do it, the obligation request was not processed. So you had a zero balance. It's letting you go ahead and complete your project closeout. So in your comments, just say, project complete, whatever you want to say, project complete. And then you do your certifications here, right? You must certify all of these. If you do not certify them, it will not let you proceed. Okay. And please, I'm going to read them. I'm reading them to you real quick. So granting submitted all financial performance other reports required by terms and conditions of the award. All grant funds were used for the purpose appropriated. The approved scope of work for this grant, as specified in the MOA, is complete. Grantee has submitted all other closeout documentation requested. And all program activities and results are subject to review and authentication by NCEM. And you have to retain the paperwork for audit purposes. And then here's important information that the records will be retained for a certain period of time, of course, with records management laws. All right, then you'll hit next. And you could upload any supporting documentation you want. So if you had photos or, a letter or anything else you want to attach here to help support your closeout, you could. It's not required though, so we're not doing anything here. It's not required, but it's optional if you want to upload any documentation. Hit submit and hit finish. Yep, you've just submitted your closeout request. Okay, so now if you go to related Abhishek under the project. All right, and scroll down under project management requests. See the closeout request right there that we just submitted. See, so the de-obligation request that Brad made earlier, that was approved. to bring your balance down to zero. And the closeout request we just submitted, it's not been approved yet. Once that's approved, the status will change to approved. You will get a DocuSign document through DocuSign integrated into Salesforce saying, here's your closeout letter, which I sign, and is proof it's your receipt for your auditor that you've probably closed out the grant. So you'll receive that through the closeout process once it's approved. Go back to the details tab, Abhishek, on the project. I'll just show one more thing here. If you go back to details, look at your project budget. Scroll down a little bit, Abhishek. Right there, you see where it says funding remaining zero because the deobligation request that Brad submitted earlier, $50,000 was processed. So we're now back down to zero, which is why it lets you submit the closeout request. So this here is a perfect case where you've either spent all the money or deobligated the remaining funding. You got your funding remaining down to zero, submitted your closeout request, completed your project, and then we would just send you a closeout letter and your business with us would be done for this grant. All right, thank you, sir. Any questions? All right, very good. So with that, I think we do have time for Q&A. If anybody wants to ask any further questions or comments, happy to take them at this time. Looks like Vivian had to drop, no problem. Okay, Kelly, we answered the question about summary expenses form. So thank you for that question, Kelly. Jessica had a question about the time frame. Janine answered that in the chat. All right, I don't see any more questions. Any more questions that we saw in the chat that I'm missing? All right.
Oh, sir, you're good.
Very good. Thank you, Janine, for monitoring the chat for us. And thank you for the questions from everybody. So in conclusion, we just kind of walk you through the process real quick. Apologize for the technical difficulties that we had. But this same process we walk you through pretty much applies for any of the grants that my office manages through NCM. So if you have regular NSGP or NSGP NSS, the same process applies to you. Regardless of what year NSGP it is, the same process applies for 24. If you get 25 NSGP, the same thing will apply if you get an award. You're basically accessing your information through Salesforce, submitting those reimbursement requests through Salesforce, getting your project balance down to zero, and then deobligating the remaining funds if necessary, submitting a closeout request, and then closing out your grant. Along with those reimbursement requests, you must submit the proper documentation, which is the summary of expenses form, the invoice or receipt, the proof of payment for all of your reimbursement requests, and you will get processed and paid after you submit that documentation. And again, to start the whole process off, though, you should be completing that EHP screening form and uploading that to your project in Salesforce and chattering or emailing your grant manager, letting them know it's been there, it's there. We will then get that information to FEMA. We will get you your approval to start your project, and you'll be able to do your reimbursement requests after that. So same process pretty much for every NSGP grant. All right, that is all I have. Brad, any other words of wisdom as the lead grant manager for NSGP?
Oh, Derek, I think you did a bang up job on this one, Derek. There's really not much to say other than the processes that we covered now are more or less, we go through phases with the processes depending on you may close out the grant, you may put in one cost report and ready to close out the grant. You may put in several before you're ready to close out the grant. But this thing is a step-by-step, the EHP being the biggest next step for this grant. Most cases, 95% of the cases, you will not be able to start anything until you get an EHP review completion letter back from FEMA. Again, I congratulate everybody for being awarded, and we look forward to working with you over the next, hopefully 3 years.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate those comments. And any other staff have any other questions, comments, or concerns for the good of the group? All right, thank y'all. Jenny, if you can stop the recording at this time, thank you for your time. This recording will be available on our website shortly. Thanks, guys. Have a great day. See you next time. Goodbye. Janine, please stop the recording and terminate the chat. Thank you.